may or may not know, this is the 6th year we've done the Sunshine Award. And now I'm going to tell you who the past winners are. So let me get my cheat sheet out here. Last year was Max Branscombe, who was a professor of journalism at Southwestern College. Very well deserving. Before that, it was Terry Frank, who works with Donna very closely. And JW. And most of the people in the room here, the journalists. General counsel at Cal Aware. Before that, it was Mel Shapiro, who was a well-known city watchdog. Before that, it was Donna Fry. So we have an alum here. Let's hear it. Donna Fry. Segue before that, it was Senator Leland Yee, who... Google it if you don't know.
He was a super nice guy.
Super nice guy, super nice guy.
He won everybody great.
But then it was Donna Fry. Super nice guy. This year, very interesting. Most of you know, there's no surprise to this portion of the ceremony, as there are to the windows and walls. Everyone knows who the Sunshine Award winners are. They are phenomenal, and it is the first time that journalists have given the award to journalists. So I don't know what that means, but there are 3 very well-deserving gentlemen in the room. We have Dave Goffredson of CBS. Let's hear it for him. Paul Kruger of NBC. JW of NBC. That was a trick. Actually, I just want to read this very quickly. These guys will come up and they can, after I hand their awards, they can collectively or individually speak. But as most of you have been following the McStay case, very emotional case in this county and in this country for years. Family missing and found to be murdered. The man accused of that crime is now in custody, and the search warrants in the case are sealed in multiple counties. These 3 gentlemen were very instrumental in getting a San Diego County judge to unseal them. We're still fighting the fight in Santa Barbara, so cross your fingers and wish us luck on that front. But JW put some words together about the 3 of these guys on his Facebook page, and I hope he forgives me for allowing me to read them for those of you who aren't friends with him on Facebook. Just a few short words, but it basically sums up why these guys have this award tonight. The backstory on the McStay warrants. The coverage on the unsealing of the McStay warrants will report on how a San Diego judge ordered the unsealing after media requests. The backstory is how the warrants came to be unsealed. Late last year, producers David Goffredson from KFMB and Paul Kruger from KNSD and I, parentheses, JW August, began talking about the McStay case and the widespread interest we perceived in the community because of how the case was initially handled and how brutal the murders were. We felt the records that could be made public should be made public. The 3 of us have teamed up before when we felt it was more important to open the records than it was to beat our competition. And believe me, we do compete against one another. In this case, David and Paul did a lot of the work, and I contributed, JW, but they did most of the heavy lifting. We advocated for a larger partnership with our national networks, the LA media, and our own media community in San Diego. We ended up with more than a dozen partners who agreed to chip in $500 so we could hire an attorney to represent us in court. That attorney is Kelly. Thank you for pronouncing that. Aviles in Avalon Beach.
Awesome.
Shout out. Thank you very much. Let me just repeat that. More than a dozen media partners. That's what is important in this day and age. We can't do it alone, so we're doing it together. So these 3 guys did that. And one last paragraph here before I'll bring them up. Before cable news, JW writes, before the internet, a TV station or a newspaper might roll the dice and spend the money in court to try to get government agency records unsealed. But those days are long gone. We have found we need to build consensus among various media outlets that the story is worth pursuing and to share in the legal fees. It doesn't always happen, but we have to try. Let's give these 3 a big round of applause. You guys want to come up? I'll hand you your hardware. You can say a word. JW August, there you go, my friend. Congratulations. Thank you so much. Congratulations.
You guys gonna sing?
Acapella. David, there you go. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you, David.
That's what you
I don't know if they'd like to say something, but I would, which was, from the beginning, I lobbied for David to get this award, and David only, because JW and I have been recognized over the years for the work we've done, and David has labored in quiet, without much recognition for all he's done, and he has really been the most aggressive, sometimes to the point of my wanting to tell him to shut up and hang up the phone. Leave me alone, David. We're not going to pay for it. But it was David that said we should go after the McStay warrants, and it was David who got us all going. You know, we all joined in, we all did work, but David has behind the scenes, in ways you wouldn't know about, promoted and pursued First Amendment challenges and efforts on search warrants and other documents in a way that you don't know, and I'd like you to recognize all the work he's done. And I want to say one other thing, which is, I don't think that we should be, for all the work we've done, we're not the ones who should be here tonight. The fact that it took us countless hours to cobble together a group of media outlets willing to put out $300 each, which is what media executives pay for lunch. One lunch is, to me, an embarrassment. I think that who should be up here is Doug Manchester or Dick Kelly, or you name any general manager of any outlet, that despite all the problems that media has in terms of revenue, should have a commitment to the First Amendment that equals anything they do. Taking care of live trucks, buying a new printing press, keeping a delivery fleet going, hiring another reporter. It's the most basic and important thing that we do. And I'm embarrassed, really, that our companies that own the outlets that we work for are not willing to do it. And I would ask you, as members of this organization who are doing you're doing great work keeping these issues in the public eye. I think what you can do is, whenever the opportunity arises, remind those you work with and those you work for of the importance of spreading the word on First Amendment challenges, of underwriting them. Remind them that we're in business because of the First Amendment, and we have a responsibility financially and in terms of what we write and broadcast to further the First Amendment. And sometimes that takes money, and that's money that has to be spent. So thank you.
Well, I'm the kind of guy that just thinks everything should be open. And a lot of times I'm real aggressive with government agencies or the courts to try to get things open. And it is shameful that we can't afford, one media outlet can't afford an attorney anymore to challenge it all the way and to appeal it. And so to get everyone together is the only way it seems like we can do it now. And when we have media outlets that aren't joining, Paul is the guy who is more diplomatic than me, and he will shame them into joining. He'll go on Facebook. KUSI is terrible, you know. But anyway, we ended up getting CNN and ABC and 48 Hours and Dateline, I think, to join in this McStay effort. And we really weren't successful up there in San Bernardino because of the judge. But we're still fighting the fight, and it turns out that this information is going to come out sooner than we thought anyway. But anyway, we did a story a while ago. The search warrants are just terrible here in San Diego County because they're always sealed. We did a story where 45% of them in downtown court are sealed. And once they're sealed, they never get unsealed until a media outlet challenges that. The defendant can be convicted, off to prison, and the warrants, 45% of them just stay sealed forever. There's no automatic unsealing of them. So that's one of the battle areas that we've been going after. And so I thank these guys for getting everyone on board and joining, because that's the only way we can afford it these days. So, thanks.
Thanks, Dave. And just finding the warrants is a hassle. It's not necessarily they got a nice book organized, all related to that crime. You got to figure out which judges signed them. The system here is totally screwed up. We have talked to the judges about it. They haven't seen, they don't see it as a problem. And I just want to mention, this is not the first time we worked together on trying to get records open. We've been doing this, I can't even remember the cases, but we've been doing this, for
At least 50 years, don't you?
50 years at least. There's strength in numbers. And I'm very honored by the SPJ giving this. I really do appreciate it. I love this award. I think it's really important. The Sunshine Week is a reminder of the importance of transparency and openness in government. And we all have a job to do as journalists to make sure that we honor what the Sunshine Week is all about. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Good job again.
All right, now to the unscripted portion of the evening. These are two new awards that we decided to add to our roster this year during Sunshine Week. One is, the first one we'll do is the Wall Award, segue from JW. These are folks who have not been the most transparent and maybe need a primer on open government themselves. And then we'll move on to the Windows Award, which are folks who have gone above and beyond the call of duty, who have been open and transparent. The three finalists for our Wall Award, actual brick right here.
Is that a real brick?
Actual brick. You feel it?
Just don't throw it.
Don't drop it.
That's a real brick.
Is it engraved?
No, but I will. I do have a Sharpie.
Spare no expense.
So yeah, we're a low budget organization, but we did well. The three finalists for the Wall Award this year were.
You gotta hold up the brick for a photo.
No, there it
Move closer. Gotta do this for the person who might not have come here. There.
is. Perfect.
Get another one when the name is on.
We'll do it. Yeah, we'll do it with the names on it. Let me just read here. The three people were, and I have blurbs that I want to read out. To not necessarily to shame them, but to let people know this is what we're watching out for. We want these folks to be open. We want them to do better, and we want to work with them on teaching them how to do that in coming years, if not immediately. The Wall's finalists this year: Bonnie DeMonis. For weeks, San Diego County District Attorney Bonnie DeMonis refused to release a college letter of recommendation that came to light right before her June election, even though other politicians quickly turned over comparable public records. Hers was to the University of San Diego for the son of a campaign contributor involved in a campaign finance scandal. After a media coalition, again with a media coalition, well done you guys, threatened to sue her, DeMonis gave the letter exclusively to an outlet that wasn't part of the coalition. Now, I don't say what outlet that was, but it was mentioned earlier. Hey, what's up? Another finalist, Jerry Braun. Former newspaper writer Jerry Braun might have enjoyed writing about the Balboa Park celebration, a city-funded nonprofit in charge of a centennial party for Balboa Park that received $3 million but never threw a party. But Braun was first spokesman, then interim CEO for the group, which for months resisted opening its contracts, letters, and other documents to public inspection. One Balboa Park volunteer said Braun scapegoated, quote unquote, the public and park institutions when explaining his group's failures. Wall's finalist number 3, SDPD, and it's been a rough week for SDPD. Again, Google it if you don't know. The SDPD repeatedly told the public that getting police body cameras would increase public trust and add transparency. But instead, Chief Shelley Zimmerman has publicly said that she will not release most of the footage to the public, and that if she did, it would be at her discretion. That doesn't seem to jive with the public records law and runs counter to what the public believes body cameras do: provide a record of what happened. and law enforcement agencies elsewhere are releasing the footage upon request.
Are any of them here?
Say it again?
Are any of these guys here tonight? Is Bonnie here?
So Bonnie is not here. I invited all three. Bonnie,
Bonnie?
Jerry,
She's not about to.
SDPD. Of the three, SDPD Lieutenant Wall.
SDPD with you.
They might be showing up shortly.
Lieutenant Wall actually wrote me back, and I will read that into the record after I announce and write on this the winner, which is SDPD.
Yeah. Well deserved.
I'm sure the chief will put that on her desk in a place of prominent position.
Actually, she's going to be just up the street tomorrow morning at 8:30.
True. She's making a few public appearances the
So,
next couple of days.
I'd be happy to deliver that.
Just in the interest of being fair and transparent, which is what this night is all about, Lieutenant Rawl wrote me back and said, "We disagree that we are not transparent regarding our body-worn camera program. The SDPD values community trust and transparency in policing. Per our department policy, body-worn camera video is considered evidence. As with all evidence, it must be protected. Releasing evidence could interfere with a defendant's right to a fair and impartial trial. It could also contribute to the re-victimization of a person or person who has called us for assistance, and often at the worst possible moment. Sensationalizing their traumatic experience is not appropriate."
Except when the chief wants it to be public.
We're still giving you the award. Now, on to the one we've all been waiting for. This is, again, a new award, and I think it's going to become one of our most popular. I certainly was very pleased that we had the discussion at the board, and are giving it to someone tonight. And some of those folks are here tonight. Finalist Mike Lee, San Diego County Water Authority. Is Councilman Mark Kersey here?
Right there.
There he is.
Thank you.
San Diego Councilman Mark Kersey. And someone from the City of Del Mar's City Manager's Office. Now, they had also emailed me and said that they had a prior agreement, so could not be here tonight, which is too bad. Next year, we'll get all three of the finalists here. But here they are. Let me read off why we chose these three folks above everyone else in the county for being pinnacles of open government. Starting with Mark. San Diego City Councilman Mark Kersey showed leadership on San Diego's open data policy from conception to approval by the City Council in December. The city expects to launch a user-friendly web portal for digital information from crime statistics to water consumption in late 2015, a feat that would make San Diego among the first in the nation to post nearly all of its online data that way. One nomination said, and this is the point where I say that maybe the most important thing about this whole process, it wasn't just the board who came up with either the walls or the windows. We asked everyone in the community, journalists, regular folks, people who wanted one of these awards, to nominate someone and to say why they should win one of these, or lose, I guess. So one nomination about Mark said, "Without him, we would not have an open data policy in San Diego." Big round of applause. And thank you very much for being here tonight.
Absolutely.
Mike Lee. After many years as a journalist, Mike Lee knows exactly what reporters want and need in his role as a public affairs and media relations representative for the San Diego County Water Authority. He's quick on the return phone call and email. He doesn't say anything about Twitter, though, Mike. Can you step that up?
Yeah, I'm not as good on Twitter, sorry.
He lines up the right people for interviews, and he turns over relevant reports and data on the county's water history without prompting. One nomination said, great resource for reporters who might be covering drought for a very long time. Congratulations and thank you. City of Del Mar. In response to a California Public Records Act request, the City of Del Mar released a 10-minute video last year that showed a reserve sheriff's deputy reacting angrily after a traffic stop by a city park ranger. The deputy lost his job. The video was released in September, and the city revised its body camera policy in December, acting in the public's best interest at a time when other police agencies have refused to release body camera videos, something we just talked about. One nomination said, "One request submitted and footage was released." So now why don't you guys both come up here? We'll give out all these at once. As you're walking, I regret to inform you that the city of Del Mar has won. So let's hear it from the city of Del Mar. Congratulations, city of Del Mar. But also, I'm glad you are here, and I wanted to let you guys both have an opportunity to talk about why you value open government and transparency. And here is a certificate for you, Mark, and for you, Mike. Thank you so much. Yes, I really appreciate it.
Well, thank you for the nomination. Sorry I was a little late. I was coaching my little boy's baseball game up in North County and jetted on down here, but I was happy to be able to make it down. And really, open data is something I was introduced to by Ben Katz back there and Jeff Johnson and some of these guys with Open San Diego about, I don't know, 2.5 years ago, as something that really could be transformative in the way that the citizens are able to communicate with their government, but really to understand all the various things that the city maintains data sets on. And so we worked with those guys, and like with many things that I do, I'm just the face of the operation. They really did all the heavy lifting, but we got an open data policy in place, and I think it's really going to change the way that the city does business. So I was happy to be able to help out. So thank you again for the nomination.
Mark and I do have at least two things in common. One besides this, my son's baseball game is 0-0 in the second. So staying updated.
Playing the lights on.
Yeah. So anyways, it strikes me that there's no small bit of irony being on this side of the podium, if you will, because it was many years that I was a working journalist, and I really got into journalism because I could write and I didn't know what else to do. Right? And then I learned a couple things when I got into journalism. One was I couldn't write nearly as well as I thought I could, and there were some people who helped me along the way, Matt included. And the other thing that I learned that I would say did not come naturally exactly. I mean, it certainly wasn't a driving force for me in any sense when I got into the industry, was the importance of records and transparency. Like many of you, I think, got in, especially from the Watergate generation, got into this driven by this desire to open up government. I didn't come with that, but I learned that, and I value that, and I appreciate that. Matt and I spend many long hours poring over government records, as I recall.
Fond memory.
Fond memory, it was indeed. And so I am pleased by the nomination in as much as it says that that wasn't just something I believed in one time in my life and then forgot about, but that I actually still do value that. And I would also just put in a thank you to my colleagues at the Water Authority who, without their cooperation and their assistance, I could not do my job. And these are people who, in many cases, most cases, have spent years, decades even, working on various projects and have deep ownership in those and want to see them succeed and want to see them, people respect them. And so for me to be able to tap the wealth of knowledge that they have is really, I love doing that, and I hope that shows in my interactions with you guys. So thank you again.
Thank you. Congratulations.
All right, you guys. That's it. Just a few more words to close. Segueing from Mike's comments. There's a drought, so we order your next round. Not water, no ice. Do your part. Thank you all for coming. Sunshine Week is the most important week of the year for journalists. Too bad it didn't happen 52 weeks. For many of us, it does. And so keep at it. Don't let it end with Saturday. Keep fighting for openness and transparency. For those on the other side of the aisle, thank you for what you do. And for journalists, keep at it. Keep the fight up. Thank you, guys.